Hi. So that's the front clip, but this is the original part we made the mold from. So this is just a heavyweight buck. Front mold is obviously all now done. Mounted it to my old rotisseries, made some different leg supports, obviously because the flanges are in different positions. Trying to get that into a reasonably close to center of gravity rotation. It's close enough. Allows me to pivot the mold as I'm making the part. This should be the new white front clip for the car. We've only got one layer of fiberglass to come back on to finish this off, or at least finish it to the main body section anyway. And what I want to do in the center, I had to add some rigidity to above the radiator area, because this is kind of like the beam that you put in twist every time you try and lift up, say, one corner of the car. So you're trying to lift up the front clip and open the front clip, you're lifting this section up here. You're putting a twist load into that area there to the other side. So you're kind of putting a bit of a twist momentum in this here. So it would be handy if that has more of a beam structure. Not particularly very thick, but add some more structure to it. Now obviously this is completely flat all the way across, and this has been added to it. So it already has a flat across there, and we've added some extra thickness to that so we could shape this and filler this to get the shape we wanted for the mold. But when we pull the mold, obviously the mold has this profile. So we have that sort of section in the center. Well, unfortunately that tends to put a break in that surface and makes it kind of weaker. So I'll put core mat across there, but I'd have this reduction here. The core mat would have nothing to sit to. So we filled the sort of nose section and that area here. It's almost, actually, I need to do it about 20 minutes ago. It's already getting pretty close to skinful. Skinned over. We'll cut that level, so that will be a whole complete surface area there, and we'll just cut this sort of tailor down to it. And then we'll put core mat all the way across there, and then put the last layer of fiberglass over the top of that. So it'll produce a skin, probably about, you're probably looking at about 6 to 7 millimeter thick across there. 3 mil core mat, you can end up with about 2 to 3 millimeters of sort of fiberglass. Actually, with a double layer gel coat, yeah, it's probably close to 6 mil. So you have a 6 mil sort of thick piece across the front there, and that hopefully that'll give us a bit more beam stiffness. So when basically we're trying to open the front clip and we're lifting it on the corner here, we've got that twist motion into that. Also, this corner here tend to put a bit more of put a bit of rope in the corner here and make this a bit more thick. Otherwise you end up cutting this back to miss the body. It becomes very, very thin, and you can easily put a twist into that. So if you add a little bit of fiberglass rope in the corner and fiberglass over that, or add some structure to there, it also adds to the ability so it doesn't twist quite so much. You know, we could add a secondary piece of insert fiberglass to this point here to add some actual structure, but then that always tends to get in the way of any airflow from radiators and from other stuff. It just gets in the bloody way, so it's a pain in the ass. And we no longer need to use those secondary parts as the pivoting point, because we're going to put flanges, or gussets should be saying, into the front there, which is where the pivot point for the front clip is. So yeah, so front clip, last layer done hopefully this afternoon. I've just got to wait for this to go off. Cut it flat, sculpt it nicely into here. Core mat, probably some core mat in the inner arch as well, and help for any stones flying up so it doesn't get through and crack the gel coat. But yes, that's the progress on the front clip. Rear clip, half the reason really putting on the car was to confirm all the body gaps and make sure we got everything in the right place. I did have to build this flange up here, about 2 millimeters, because this gap here was too low. It was okay along here, but it was too narrow here. Did have some minor holes that would have been a pain to fill with the next layer of Sperl gel coat we're going to put on this. So we've just filled them, and there's an area over there as well. The main reason we put it on was to confirm the fact that the body width from this point here to its adjacent on the other side was correct. Because when I DA'd the damn thing, when I was sanding it, all my adjustment flanges I put on the inside to make sure that that surface was the correct orientation, and over here the nuts fell off because I hit it with the DA. Idiot. So I've double nutted them now and adjusted them so that it matches that body line, which is basically what I was trying to do. And I've confirmed that now, and we just reconfirmed that the the clip was okay with the diffuser and the wheels and everything else. So I'm dead happy now that this is ready for molding. So we've got to take this off, probably start doing that tomorrow. We've got to build a simple rotisserie, just enough to make the mold, because this damn thing's about 50 kilos. It's ridiculously heavy. I find it might even be more than that. The production part will obviously be way lighter than that because it won't have, like, you know, an inch of filler, and obviously this scoop part here is just pure, you know, filler, gel coat, foam, and God knows whatever else. The back end here, there's probably about 2 inches of stuff in here as well, so it's just massively thick, but obviously just to produce the shape so we can make the mold. So realistically, this is always going to be a sacrificial part, but we need to make the mold now. This thing's so heavy to move it around while you're making the mold, because we'll have 5 sections to the mold. So we'll laminate the main top surface, so there'll be a flange all the way over the edge, back along here and along here. That'll be the first part of the mold. That's nice and simple. We can lay that up in trestles, but when we've got to index the mold now this way, because we've got to laminate the side, how do you do that without some form of a simple rotisserie, without disturbing? Because the last thing you want to do is disturb this, because if you disturb this and that part of the mold then starts to separate, then you're goosed. You've lost it. It's kind of, you know, you're never going to clamp it back down to make the rest of it. So it's never going to be the exact shape again. So you need to make something that's easy to move this bloody 50 plus kilo thing around, so you can move it to the side, laminate the left, rotate it right, laminate the right. And then once you've laminated both the wheel arches and the top, it tends to have some lock, because it'll have lock in here. It'll have lock on the wheel arch. So I'm not as scared of it moving. Then we'll put it on the floor and we'll lift it up at the back, laminate the rear, laminate the front. So that's the front clip. Final revision of the diffuser. Another mold, which is a pain. I've already made the mold, but this one I'm a lot happy with the shape. So simple mold to make, only after one piece. I can pretty much pull the component out of this one without having to worry about locks. So rear diffuser mold, or the under mold. We have made the over mold, and we made the original 2 middle tunnels, but they've now we've now morphed into this version, which I hope to God is the last one, because I've already made 2 molds previous to that over the time that I've been building the car. So now this is going to be the final mold for the bottom. But now obviously that fits that shape perfectly. So there you go. Last couple of weeks fun. And yeah, so next couple of days, lots of fiberglassing, lots of itching, and lots of, yes, baby powder on my arms to stop the damn things from itching like hell at night. Have fun, speak to you soon.